Hey everyone, it's Nico with Legacy Realty. You are a real estate advisor and real estate agent, and I hope you're all having a great week. Today's Tuesday, and if this is your first time watching these videos, or if this is your 100th time watching these videos, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch these. The reason why I do these videos is to teach and train and to educate you guys about what it means to be a home buyer, a home seller, or a real estate investor, or even a homeowner. And so today I want to just jump into today's topic, and I want to talk about rising interest rates and rising home prices and how those two things relate. So if you haven't noticed already, the Denver Metro home prices are absolutely insane. The Denver Metro area is just such a unaffordable area for a lot of people. And so home prices are continuing to rise, and part of this is due to inflation. So I want to actually talk about inflation a little bit. The information I'm about to give, I'm kind of stealing information from some other realtors of mine who I work with at Legacy. So I'm citing my sources, one of which has taken many economics classes. And so I'm kind of stealing the information from him. He's a lot smarter. So if you want to watch that video, I can give you the link to that video. But this is me citing my sources. So on average, inflation typically rises at about 2.5% year over year. As we know, things get more expensive, year over year, and inflation's always been around. But on average, it rises at about 2.5% year over year. So things just typically become more expensive. But last year, we saw that inflation had actually risen at about 4.5%. So why does this matter? Well, inflation actually, it just affects the value of money. And obviously when inflation increases dramatically, then the things we buy increase dramatically. We have seen this in meat prices in grocery stores. We have seen this in gas prices and the price to buy a car, and even in the price to buy a home. And it really just affects every aspect of our lives because inflation affects currency. So part of the rising appreciation rates in homes is also due to inflation. So how do you fight against it? Well, in that video that I was talking about, again, I'm citing my sources. In a video that my boss, Shane, and another realtor of mine, Seth, have talked about, Shane talks about and he's been in the business for 20 years. He talks about one way to invest in real estate is to buy rentals and to rent them out. That's one way to invest real estate. That's one way to fight against inflation, because if you just take your money and throw it under your mattress, you're not gonna beat inflation. The value of your money sitting under your mattress will actually depreciate rather than appreciate faster than inflation. So one way to do that, one way to beat inflation, is to take your money and invest it. And especially in real estate investing is such a potent and powerful way to actually build your wealth of real estate. And it's actually a great way to beat out inflation. So how does that all tie into rising interest rates? Well, if you've ever looked at interest rates and the history of interest rates, if you looked at interest rates in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, you would see that interest rates were actually close to 20%. And this was because the reason why they were that high is because the feds were actually trying to fight inflation. And so we're seeing this again. Inflation is getting higher, so they're trying to fight it by rising interest rates. Last year, interest rates were at just underneath 3%. Right now, they're at around 5.5%, and the Feds are estimating that at the end of the year, the interest rates will be around 7%. So it's going to cost more to buy a home. It's going to cost more to buy cars, and it means that you'll probably be likely to spend less money, or you'll be more conservative on what you are buying. So what does this all mean for sellers? Well, if you're thinking of selling, you probably have a lot to gain, because on average, home prices are higher this year than they are last year. The average home sale price in April of 2022 was $750,000. In 2021, the average home sale price in April was $644,000. So on average, people in Denver are selling their home for $100,000 more than last year, which is insane. So now is the time to sell your home. If you're thinking of selling your home, now's the time to sell your home. But what does this mean then for buyers? Last year was incredibly tough. We saw how competitive it was for buyers. During the summer, buyers were getting outbid by $50,000 to $80,000. And so it was extremely competitive, extremely tough. And this year could honestly be more competitive. It could mean that actually the rising interest rates could mean that you are disqualified from actually being able to get pre-approved for a loan. Most likely, the rising interest rates will actually affect first-time home buyers. And so some people could, like I said, either not qualify for a home loan, or maybe you do barely qualify for a home loan and interest rates go up, and then that means you're no longer qualified for a home loan. And so the fact is, we don't know how high these interest rates are going to go. But like I said, the estimate is that by the end of the year, it could be 7%. And so the whole point of this video then is to educate you guys about how home prices are rising and how that actually, how rising interest rates actually affect your buying power and what it means. And so if you're selling your home, like I said, now is the time to sell your home, because you'll probably be able to sell it for, on average, $100,000 more than last year, especially during the summer months. And what that means that if you're about to become a buyer, or if you are a home buyer, you need to be very strategic. Get in touch with the lender today to figure out, one, if you can qualify for a home, and if you can stay qualified when interest rates rise again, because they most likely will by the end of the year, and throughout this next year. And so figure it out. And so try to get in touch with someone, a real estate agent, a lender, so you can figure out what your buying power is, how you can be competitive, and how you can beat out other buyers. And the way to beat out other buyers is not just by spending $100,000 more on a house than you need to, but it actually takes strategy and planning. So if you have any questions about any of this, reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you. And until next week, I hope you all have a great week.